Alright, let's talk about a little bit about the formation of Bloody Breathitt Studios. The beginnings. Bloody Breathitt Studios was formed by me, Lance Whitmire, and Tyler Miller. And it was just a studio at first to record Glorious Monstrosity and Save Insanity. I met Lance Whitmire through Save Insanity, and we tried to practice there in his house, or his trailer, which was in Dave Boyd's Trailer Court in Jackson, Kentucky. And I mean, hell, you could spit from one trailer to the other. That's how close they was. And we got through one song, which was that song by Seether and Amy Lee, Broken. And that's when law got called, and I had to disassemble my drums and get the hell out of there, basically, because I was the drummer at the time. So we figured out, hey, the drums are the problem. So as long as we don't play drums here, we can record whatever. So that was the foundation of Glorious Monstrosity. I don't think we could get like real drums, you know, they're even the sound of real drums. So it's mostly like 808 beats, shit like that, but not actual 808 beats, just more electronic style stuff. So that's the drums that, you know, we did. And what we did as far as songs go is mostly I wrote the songs. The couple of songs like Kamikaze Soul, that's a Ned song. Let's Roll, that's a Fire Chime song that actually turned into a Ned song. Then there was another one with a speech from Obama and maybe Hitler in it, I'm not for sure. And then there was another one called Bittersweet Key, which is an old Fire Chime song that's completely redid for that. But what happened with that was Lance moved away. We couldn't get back and forth to Lance, so basically Lance quit the band. I mean, well, I guess you could say he quit the band and also in turn quit the studio, which left me and Tyler to keep recording. Now, I never stopped doing South Fork Studios. That was always my backup. Dave Boyd's Trailer Court was Bloody Breathitt Studios, and then South Fork Studios was on Quicksand at the time. And what I would do to record the vocals for these songs is I would take an MP3, take the South Fork Studios, and record over top of it, and that became the song. Now, before I understand that the vocals, they, you know, flat out, they suck, you know, on my part, and I apologize. But there's no way that I can actually go back and redo them. Around this time is when Save Insanity practiced in my basement, too. And I'll get into more of them later. But the only thing you need to know is those two bands were very closely similar with similar members, and they didn't involve Cody, Logan, Stevie, Glenn, or any of those. It involved Zach Spencer's crew and Shelby Epperson and stuff like that. But we'll get into that later. But I just wanted to talk to you about the formation of Bloody Breathitt Studios, where it came from. Like I said, it was left up to me and Tyler, and then, you know, Tyler, he quit doing it. He quit recording bands with me, so, you know, the job just basically came down to me to carry this torch of Bloody Breathitt Studios. And around the time that me and Tyler was running it, we had to come up with a new vision, a new model for the studio. And that's when we kind of just followed South Fork Studios' motto and said, what if we took South Fork Studios and took it out of the holler and held bands apart, you know, away from South Fork Studios? And that, you know, that was the basis. We wanted to get bigger. South Fork Studios in turn helped all musicians in Breathitt County. Bloody Breathitt Studios in turn helped all musicians in the surrounding area. Now, I mean, you could have called it Kentucky Studio, Southeast Kentucky Studio, whatever. But we stuck with the name Bloody Breathitt Studios because another reason. It sticks in the craw of those people down there. Because when they hear Bloody Breathitt Studios, wow, I can't wait to hear some country music talking about my dog and talking about drugs and these racist ideologies. But when they hear us, it's like, you're all just a bunch of kids screaming and doing this. Yeah, we are. And you're just an old white fucking racist fucker who don't care, or, you know, whatever the case may be. But it was basically just to say hi. Our name's attached to you all, and there's nothing you can do about it. So yeah, And that's why I still keep the name. But now I keep the name not to stick it in the craw of those people. Just remember to never go back. To remember where we started. And let's just keep on going with, you know, the history of BBS, what happened to it. I started running it out of Quicksand, and then it moved to Rowdy up in Hazard on 476. That's when the Great Takeover and the Great Takeover and the Great there was a takeover, and then there was an extinction, the Great Collapse. That's what it is. That's what I called it, the Great Collapse. The Great, and I'll get into more of them here in a little bit too. But all you need to know, it went from Jackson to Rowdy, back to Jackson to Ned's Grand Ole Music Store when it opened, and then once it left there, I don't think it ever went back into. Actually, yeah, it did. It went back to Quicksand and then moved to Richmond to Ballard Drive. And then after Ballard, it followed me wherever I went. You know, that's basically how the location of BBS was the location of where I lived at. So it went from Ballard to Duckhorn to Barnesville to Moberly, and now we're on East Main in Richmond. So, you know, the story of Bloody Breathitt Studios, it's a long and complicated one. You know, we was an underground business, and then we became an LLC out of, I don't want to say fear, but I guess that's what you could say, out of fear of being called fake. Because we was an LLC. Like, everybody wants to be real and everybody wants to stay underground, but the moment that you try to take it above ground and you're not legit, in quotations, then you're fake as fuck and no one wants anything to do with you because you're not a real company. So we became an LLC to join up with another company, which I'll talk about later too. That fell through, and the studio never generates money. That's not our goal, is to generate money. Our goal is to help musicians. And if we got $2 in our pocket, that artist gets that $2. We don't have any kind of treasury in Bloody Breathitt Studios. The money is basically passed on where it needs to go. We're just a handler. So, with that being said, we are trying now, as I'm recording this, to turn it to a non-profit organization so it can better help those musicians in need, and it will erase the fact that we are trying to steal people's music, because we're not. That's the whole reason that we don't record artists anymore, because that's where that thought stems from, is you're trying to make money off me. Well, yeah, in a sense, yes. If I'm a producer, I have rights to these songs. As an artist, you have rights to these songs, okay? And if we come into agreement that we're going to make an album and we're going to separate the royalties and everything like that, I do have a right. But you can't go into it saying, yeah, the producer's going to get all these rights, and then once it's recorded and you get your MP3 track, no, we're going to take this MP3 and we're going to profit off of it ourselves, and if you ever try to do something with it, then we're going to sue you. And that's the whole reason that we quit recording bands. Every band that we've recorded, you might not find it on YouTube. Maybe a couple, maybe just a couple. But it always boils down to the fact of, well, I don't want to release it that way after we have agreed to it. Or after they record it and everything sounds good, they come back a week later, I don't really like this anymore. Let's not release this. And, you know, we actually went against an artist one time because we said, hey, this is the way we're going to do it from the start. And they didn't do it. They tried to take our music and turn it to somebody else and say they're the producer. So we put it up on YouTube, our YouTube channel, and this artist went on there and basically copyrighted us. He went and got copyrights on it without our knowledge, and basically about got our channel shut down. So we're not putting anybody else's art on there without their permission. You know, and we had his permission, but then he changed his mind. And any artist out there that feels like we've done something like that, reach out to us. Don't go through YouTube, because you're going to get our channel shut down. And how's that going to help any other artist? You know what I mean? And frankly, I'm gonna be goddamn super fucking pissed off that my whole life's work was erased because somebody got their little feelings hurt. And you can ask people, yeah, people get their YouTube channels released all the time. The last person who did that, I ain't gonna say the last person, one person that they erased their channel, she went and shot up their damn headquarters. Now that's just a warning, really. Because when you take people's life's work and you just erase it, scorched earth policy, they get fucking mad. They have no way to get it back. They don't have no one to talk to. So I recommend getting an actual customer service line to help that, to combat that. But we're going on almost 11 minutes now of me just ranting and raving. So yeah, I got on here to tell you all the history of Bloody Breathitt Studios, the beginnings of it, the foundation, how it started, and where we are now. And I didn't tell you this, but I'm gonna tell you now. It has been public knowledge for the last 3 years. I'm not the sole owner of BBS anymore. I have a partner named Stacy who helps us out in this non-profit stuff and helps us do our business and get everything situated, and she's been a real help ever since she's came in, and it's been a breath of fresh air from having to do it on my own. So thank you, Stacy, for helping me, helping other artists as well. And I said me, but you do help me, but you also help other artists in ways that you can't begin to comprehend. Morality, physically, mentally, like you do a lot for these artists that I don't think that you're appreciated for. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for joining BBS and taking the reins of what I showed you how things are done, and you basically took my ideologies and the way that I do things and you've made them your own, and it's phenomenal. And I wish more people would do that. I wish more people would join somebody else instead of doing their own thing. It's the Kentucky State motto: united we're together, divided we fall. United we stand, divided we fall. It's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah, that's the truth. United we stand, divided we fall. No one is going to pay attention to something that isn't interesting. And when everybody's just this clean-cut, square individual with nothing that's related to them, they basically become this company, this brand, with no heart, no soul. So in BBS, not only do I tell people how it is, but I tell the truth. And people who don't think I'm telling the truth, you're hiding something. And I challenge you to come in a public forum or a public discussion live, and let's debate on whatever it is that's stuck in your craw about us. We're not the enemy against you. You've made us the enemy against you in your own head. We've wanted to work with every single entity out there, every single body, entity, people, band, company. We want to join everybody up. But in turn, we get our hands smacked by things that we cannot control, and it makes us look bad. So we're doing our own thing, and we're very loosely forming partnerships with other people. So that's where we're at now. And one thing I'm going to say before I cut this video off is anybody out there that does want to join up, that wants to be a sponsor of BBS or events, please contact me or Stacy. We would be glad to support you as long as you support us or other bands. We don't like music Nazis, meaning music elitist. We don't want you coming there, having a bad time just because there's a bluegrass band on stage or there's a metal band on stage. Those guys are out there working just as hard as anybody else. So, and that's the way we look at it. We're not a metal studio or a company. We're not a pop company. We're a music company. We're a music company founded by musicians, for musicians, and that's the way it's going to stay. Thank you.